Okay. Looks like we are streaming. I think one of the computers froze. Okay. Thanks for being here, Chance, with another yoga, gentle yoga, yoga for everybody type of class. I guess everybody is that's a little broad. This practice is for most people, most abilities, and basically any skill level. If you have all of your capacities, this is for everybody. But of course, not everybody is the same, so please take this practice slowly, take modifications, do whatever feels right for you. We're going to be using the breath and the bandhas, our internal movers, to turn stillness into a process of unpacking, an internal massage, a bit of soothing self-care, and just paying attention. We're cultivating attention. So paying attention is only half of it. We pay attention, and by doing so, we grow more attention. The ability to use, cultivate, and then, pay more attention. So let's start first by building the breath. Find yourself in the present moment where your seat is on the ground. Notice how your spine aligns. Notice how your weight rests on the ground, on the left side, the right side. Just notice what's there. Reach up tall through the crown of the head. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Take some big, deep breaths. All the way in and all the way out. Notice just by changing the speed of your breath, there's so much to notice about it. How your lungs are filling up, where your ribs or your spine or just your torso in general might feel tight or restricted, kind of squeezing the breath where it gets uncomfortable to take a big breath. Notice when you breathe out what muscles slow your breath down as you're breathing out, so we don't just dump out the breath. Smooth, steady inhales. Smooth, steady exhales. For the next 5 breaths, let's focus solely on breathing all the way in, even further than we think we can, and all the way out, slowly and smoothly. And notice what kind of sensations show up. How do your lungs move? Very good. Next, let's check in on the bandhas, our internal locks. First, how do you feel? Just taking some big breaths in. Where do you notice there's tension? How do you feel? Maybe lighter, maybe looser, maybe warmer. All of those things happen when you start to pay more attention to the breath and turn the breath into something very, magical, very attentive, very important. When you make your breath important, your body naturally takes notice. So the bandhas are our internal locks that are going to squeeze the spine and kind of move energy up the spine by a squeezing sensation. So the pelvic floor, the root lock, pulls up and in on the bottom. It's the same as a Kegel lift. When you squeeze these muscles of your bottom up and in, what it does is take the pelvis and lock it onto the spine. It pulls it up and onto the spine. So it might feel like some pressure in your low back. It might feel like a lot of work. It might feel a little uncomfortable even. But once you lift that lock all the way, gently release that lock. Then once you're done releasing that lock, then lift it again. It's a moving, dynamic element of the practice. It's deep within. These are some of the deepest muscles that you can flex. Get the closest to the spine. The next lock is the Uddiyana Bandha, or the upward flying lock. And we lift this by pulling the belly button in toward the spine. Like you're trying to suck your whole belly in and up underneath the spine, squeezing it in, seeing what awakens, seeing what's there. And once you lift that lock as deeply as you can, release it. Now try doing both locks at the same time, the pelvic floor and the belly button. Pulling up and in on the bottom, in and up on the belly button, squeezing that spine, and gently releasing. So let's just take a few breaths of breathing deeply all the way in, all the way out, and using those bandhas in a moving pattern. You can coordinate the breath with the bandhas. Maybe you lift the bandhas when you breathe out and release them when you breathe in, or maybe you lift them when you breathe in and release them when you breathe out. Completely up to you. Maybe try a combination of both and get familiar with these deep moving parts within your body, because your body will thank you. The more coordinated you become in these structural groups of muscles. Good. All right, now that we got these moving parts on the inside, let's make our way onto our belly and practice the exact same method of breathing. So when you lay on your belly, maybe stack your right hand on top of your left and your left cheek on top of your right hand. And just be still with the body, let gravity really glue you to the ground. Or the option to move the hands forward a little bit so your left cheek is just on the ground. Find stillness and softness, but then try to breathe all the way to the bottom of the lungs and all the way up and all the way out. Get those bandhas involved, lifting the pelvic floor, lifting the belly button as you breathe. How does this show up in the spine? How does the weight of the body make it more challenging to breathe deeply? Where does that discomfort awaken in your body? You can press the tops of the feet into the mat. We're going to engage this pose a little bit here. So press the tops of the feet into the mat like you're really trying to grip the ground with the tops of your feet. Push the front of your hips into the mat like you're trying to grip the ground with the front of your hips. And pull in on that pelvic floor as you breathe. You can also traction your forearms and elbows into the ground. And pull everything toward your heart. Pull the ground from all those points back toward your heart. And breathe. We'll take the second side by placing the right cheek on the mat or on the top of your left hand this time, swapping which hand is on top. Start by just relaxing, laying very softly on the ground. And let the breath be big, abundant, meaningful. Now we'll engage this pose. Push the tops of the feet into the mat. Push the front of the hips into the mat. Pull the ground back toward you. You can slowly come up to a Sphinx Pose. Place your forearms on the ground. Press the hands into the mat. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Big, deep breaths. Keep on finding length in the spine. You can press those tops of the feet and the front of the hips into the ground. When you pull the shoulders away from the ears, the neck gets longer. Big, slow breaths. And bring your left ear toward your left shoulder. Tuck your chin, bring your right ear toward your right shoulder. Keep pulling that left shoulder, both shoulders away from the ears, in fact. So you feel a little stretch on that right side of the neck, the ear, the jaw, the collarbone. We'll slowly make our way back to extended child's pose. Knees wide on the mat. You can be passive in this pose, being relaxed. Or you can press your hands into the mat, roll your shoulders outward so you press the forearms and the elbows into the mat, and pull the ground back towards you to lengthen the spine, to stretch the shoulders, the heart. Bring your attention to the big breaths and those bandhas coming and going. There's movement even in stillness. And whenever our mind wanders, we can bring it back to these simple techniques. Good. Option here for a tabletop position, or you can take a downward facing dog. In both positions, you're going to squeeze your hands into the ground. For tabletop, you're going to traction your hands and knees towards each other. Keep breathing. And for down dog, you're going to send your hips high. Press the heart back toward the thighs. Squeeze the hands into the mat. Roll the shoulders outward. Big deep breaths, bandhas in play. Walk the feet up to the hands. Fold forward in ragdoll pose. A nice bend in the knees. Relax the shoulders. And you can lower the hands to the mat. Slowly rise to stand. Shoulders, head are the last to come up. At the top, you can shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. You can maybe rock a bit from side to side, just gently swaying, finding a little twist in the shoulders, the spine, and the hips. As you come back to center, we'll root down through the feet, palms facing forward. Relax the shoulders from the ears. Reach up tall through the crown of the head. Traction the feet towards each other. And just breathe with those bandhas. Notice where you can soften your shoulders. Notice where you can lift your heart. Notice where you can let go of any tension that becomes known. By observing these spaces in our body, the breath coming and going, the bandhas lifting and releasing, our whole body is cleansing itself, is nourishing itself. And it does this when we pay attention. All of our systems work better when we learn how to get out of our own way. When we learn how to let go or set down what's weighing us down. And what's weighing us down is usually our thoughts and our inability to let go of a train of thought, even if it's damaging us, even if it is, draining us. So we are here, standing, letting anything that feels heavy just melt off. Notice any thought that feels distracting or like it's vying for our attention, and we just let it go for now. Yoga means to unite. It means union. It means to join. And what I believe that means is to join the mind, the body, and the spirit together with the here and now. So it doesn't always look the same. Yoga practice might not always look the same or look the same in each body. But if you're doing yoga, you feel connected to your body through the attention that your mind is placing on it, and connected to the here and now, knowing that time is, such a subjective thing. Time could go really fast when we're not paying attention. When we start paying attention, time seems to take forever. And that's magic. On your next inhale, we'll reach the arms overhead. Nice and slow. Once the arms are overhead, externally rotate the shoulders so the palms face behind you. Roll the tailbone under, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Lift the heart. Breathe deeply. Let the breath stay big. Let the feet traction the ground and kind of drag inward toward each other to engage those muscles in the legs. Just a couple more breaths with the arms up, noticing, does it feel tingly, warm, or uncomfortable? And if you ever feel too uncomfortable, take a break, let your arms down. But just 3 more breaths. If you can keep your arms up, try to relax where you can. Try to notice where that heat might start developing. Last inhale here. On your exhale, we'll fold forward, nice and slow. On your inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. This very slow movement, this slow breathing gives us a chance to really feel what our body's communicating. If you get too distracted just trying to move to the next thing very quickly, well, that's no different than what your mind is doing all day. If you recognize the slower you go, the more details are revealed. The things that we overlook all day that are occurring in our body. We'll step the feet wide and take a warrior 2. Point the toes on the right foot directly out to the right. Bend the front knee so it's right above the front ankle. Now for less intensity, you're going to bring the feet a little closer together, but that knee is going to be right above the front ankle. For more intense, you step further forward so that the intensity increases as well as the depth of the pose. We'll open our arms wide, traction the feet towards each other, straighten the left leg, really grip the ground with your feet, squeeze them into the ground, traction them towards each other, roll the tailbone under, lengthen the spine, chin right above the front shoulder. Big deep breath. And on your next exhale, we'll take an extended side angle, leaning the body forward so that the right elbow comes to the right knee. Don't put too much weight in that right elbow. Instead, invite that weight toward your left heel. And your next inhale will come up. We'll take the second side. Point the toes on the left foot, straight out to the left. Bend that front knee. Find the appropriate depth that you don't feel like it's extreme discomfort. A little discomfort is good, but a lot of discomfort is not going to help you. We want our body to trust us. We want to be challenged yet relaxed. Chin right above that left shoulder. Roll the tailbone under. Reach the arms wide. Big breaths. Use those bandhas. On your exhale, extended side angle. Big breaths here. On your inhale, come up. We'll bring the feet in close together and have a seat. Boat pose. Sit up tall. Hug your knees together. Lengthen your spine. Pull in on your bandhas and breathe. Option to lift one foot. Maybe lift both feet. Keep squeezing the knees towards each other. Option to release the hands or straighten the legs. When you're ready, you can lower down. Lower down onto the back. Squeeze the knees into the chest. Hug yourself in tight. Can rock a bit from side to side. And final Shavasana. Take up space. Arms wide, legs wide. Just feel your body. Scan the body for anywhere that feels like something's happening. Breathe into those spaces. Breathe from those spaces. Trust that your body draws in what it needs and releases what it doesn't. And trust that we are carrying around a ton of stuff that we don't need anymore. So be open to letting go of your tension, of your tightness, of your baggage. You can hug the knees into the chest. Roll down onto your right or left side. And return to comfortably seated. Spine long, shoulders relaxed. The light in me appreciates the light in you. Namaste.